Welcome to the channel and welcome to the MBA podcast. Today, I have with me Pratishtha Jain, who is in the US and, of course, a B School alum. And her journey to a B School and beyond is slightly different from a lot of people who would want to go to the US, go for consulting or product. And she's doing totally different stuff and very cool at that. So we'll dive into the journey about her, what is the current job scenario today, and many other things. So thank you so much, Pratishtha, for joining and taking out time to share your journey today.
Hi Manan. Hi everyone. I'm Pratishtha. And yes, I'm based in US. I work with the United Nations in communications. I'm a project manager in the news and media division. I did my MBA in 2018. I graduated in 2020 from Kelley. And yes, happy to be here.
Great. So let's talk about your pre-MBA journey. What were you up to? I'm assuming in India, and what was the thought behind going for an MBA?
Okay, I am an IT engineer. After my engineering, I did 1 year in data analytics. I was a business analyst at an analytics firm. And I don't know what happened. I was like, okay, this is nice, but maybe I should get into something different like communications. And at that time, I was working, I led a project or something in employee engagement. And I thought, okay, communication seems interesting. And I did a master's from Indian Institute of Mass Communication in Public Relations and Advertising. From there, I went to Tata Steel in Corporate Communications, which was okay, I've spent 3 years there and they were really rewarding. I worked with corporate sustainability, corporate social responsibility, with ethics, and all my projects were focused on communications, but they were all really different fields. Then I realized that maybe I should do an MBA because an MBA kind of provides you with a platform to pivot to a new career path. You can just do whatever you want to after an MBA. At least that's what I thought at that time. So I was like, okay, it's nice that I'm doing communications, but I also want to build on that, maybe get into marketing or brand management or consulting. So I thought that I have so many options for me and so many different things I could do. So let's go for an MBA and take it from there. So that was the thought behind doing an MBA. And when I really started thinking deep about what I really want to do, because I had to work on my essays and think of a story that I believed in and I thought I could do and I could achieve. I thought, okay, product marketing is something which sort of aligns with what I've done, might be interesting and it'll be new. So let's go with that. And also, I thought it'll keep me in the tech field and also I'll be able to leverage my communications background. So I thought, okay, this is like a good plan. Let's do it. But of course, life had other plans and that never happened.
Right. So on what basis did you kind of shortlist your B schools, and where all did you apply?
I mainly applied to all the US based schools. For me, doing an MBA was also like a dream of going international and being global. So I wanted to work with people who come from different parts of the world, who are different culturally, with their backgrounds geographically. And that was the main intent behind doing an MBA from US based schools. Also, for me, money was like a big factor. I wanted to pursue an MBA from a school that would give me financial aid. So I am glad that I got into almost all the schools that I applied to, but I chose those which gave me a great financial scholarship. So Kelley was one of them. So I chose Kelley. And apart from that, when you're choosing a B school, you are also looking for that kind of experience. Where is it that you want to be? Do you want to be in a big city like Chicago or New York, where you attend your classes and then you're off on your own, you disappear into the crowd? Or do you want to go to a small college town where you are spending the whole day with the same set of people? You go back home with the same set of people and you're building bonds and building that network. And I think it's like to each their own, whatever they want to do. For like, I had a very close friend who came to New York, went to NYU, did a master's in data analytics, and he loved it. He loved every bit of it. For me, I'm like more introvert, and I like, spending time on my own, making friendships, few friends, but I value those, and for me, those are very meaningful. So I thought, okay, let's go to a small town and experience that life differently. Also, I'm from Delhi, so I've spent so many years, being lost in the crowd. So for me, going to a small town sort of was very attractive.
Okay, interesting. And that's a very interesting take that a lot of people look at M7s because there are FT rankings and that's about it. But ultimately, it boils down to that value system of that school, the region that the school is in, and most likely, you end up working there because you have to fish for jobs on your own, and you will look at jobs within that state at least, or if not the city. So, with that, like with Kelley, again, same thing applied for you as well. It was all about the value system of the school as well as the locale of wherever you are right now.
See, that's a very good point because 90% of the people they end up working in the same region where they study, and that's how they are able to access jobs and companies. They network with companies, so they have to travel. With Kelley, one good thing was, I mean, before joining, of course, before accepting the offer letter, I spoke to so many alumni, right? Just about their experience. And I was also concerned about this, that if I'm in a small city like Bloomington in the Midwest, how am I going to network with companies? And at that time, I thought that I'm going to be on the West Coast in the tech world. So a lot of people shared with me how Kelley has so many offerings. First, they have a very good career coaching service. The whole career coaching team is like really cool. They give personalized attention. They are very much into your career goals. And to everyone, it's like, how when we apply to B schools, they're like, there's a dream school list and then there is like an achievable list, right? So they are also like that, very practical. You want to do something great, you go for it, but also let's have a backup plan. So for me, that is how they helped me to really not be scared of what I really wanted to do, but also have like a fallback option. Then the other thing is they have a lot of international programs like Globase is one of them where you consult a company in any part of the world and then you travel to them, you live with them for like 3 4 weeks and you're trying to you work with them remotely for a few months before you travel. So that kind of gives you an exposure which I don't think is there. It cannot be compared to a classroom program because that's like the practical learning aspect. Um, so yeah, I mean, I spoke to alumni and I realized that it's fine. I'll have to work hard to network. I'll have to travel, spend a little bit of my money that I can do. So yeah, it's like a balancing act. You get some and you lose some, and then you have to sort of make peace with it and go with the things that align with your priorities.
Got it, got it. And which other B schools did you apply to?
I applied to McCombs. I applied to Georgia Tech Scheller. I applied to Ross and Notre Dame. And yeah, it's been 6 7 years. I don't remember the whole list, but yeah, these are the few that I remember.
Okay, okay, interesting. And now, of course, you entered and wrote product marketing in your essays and in your interview. And how did you end up at the UN, which is a totally different, paths for at least an MBA grad coming from India to the US?
Yeah, that was like a journey. So in our very first few months, when everyone is trying to figure out how to network, because networking is not a skill that I knew about in India. In India we study, then universities, I mean colleges, companies come to the campus, and then you get a job like that, right? But here, it's like you network, find your way into a company, you speak to people about what they do, what you want to do, and then they help you sort of figure out a way. to get the job that you want. So when I was doing that and talking to people, I realized that this doesn't sound that exciting. And whenever I would speak to someone, I would focus on how am I feeling? Is this what I see myself doing? And I was like, no. And then I remember there was this senior who told me that, hey, I've just come back from my internship at the UN. And that just lit up my eyes. And I was like, okay, maybe that is something I can do. And fortunately, it worked out for me. I got an internship there. But UN internships are unpaid. So you live in New York, you don't get any salary or anything or any stipend, and you have to figure it out on your own. And UN is like New York is so expensive. Like just living here is so expensive. Luckily, I had a friend and I could, share his apartment, and it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't a problem for me. And I remember in those 4 months, I networked with around 200 people, and I ended up getting a job. I ended up getting four job offers from different UN agencies. So I picked the one which was the most exciting at that time. And yeah, it just worked out. And my job actually started before my MBA course got over. So Kelley, in that way, was so supportive. I could speak with my director since I was done with all my credits. She allowed me as an exception to leave school early and join my job 4 months before the graduation. So that way, Kelley is very helpful. I'm
No,
not sure if another school could have done that.
I know that's what I was about to say because, and these are the special tidbits or nuances for certain B schools, and that the alums can only tell. Otherwise, like I said, right, and the candidates here are more focused on rankings, stats. That's about it. But those small little things around tidbits on networking, how the career coaching happened, and then this gesture, if I may call it, that they allowed you to leave 4 months before. It's pretty cool, yeah. Um, so, how is the situation right now in the US? There's a lot of hue and cry about recession. Applicants are thinking, should they even go for an MBA in US or North America in general? So, what are you seeing on the ground?
See, things are difficult compared to when I was applying for jobs 4 years back. There's this unrest, and a lot of people are losing their jobs. And from what I hear and what I see online, there are a lot of pseudo job openings where companies are putting their job advertisements out, but they are not meant for anyone. So, of course, people are having issues. But having said that, I personally know 6 to 7 people who lost their jobs in the past 3 years. And in US, if you are on an H-1B visa, which is what most people are on, they only have 60 days to find a new job, else they have to leave. And all the people I knew found jobs within those 60 days. My own fiance, he lost his job and it was difficult. He was in India at that time. He was attending his sister's wedding
Oh,
and
okay.
his passport was at the consulate. He
Oh,
didn't even have his passport, so he could not come back instantly. But just luckily things fell into place. He could come back and he got like 7 job offers in 2 months. So, and he works in the self-driving industry in electric vehicles, and he does some shit that I don't understand honestly. But like it's a very niche field. So I think it all boils down to what you make of your situation. I mean, I personally believe, like you said, that a lot of people are focusing on let's go to the Ivy League schools or let's just focus on rankings. Every school provides you with an infrastructure, and then it all depends on what you make of it, right? Like for me, going to UN, that is such an unconventional path. And it's not like, I mean, Kelley helped me in so many ways, but there's only so much one can do. And if you're choosing to get into politics in US, let's just say, then you have to find your way. I mean, no one can do anything about it compared
yeah,
to something like, say, software engineer or, more traditional and acceptable career path. So yeah, same goes here also. Like you network, you apply, and then you get a job. And then also that's the time when you fall back on your alumni network, when you fall back on your peers and your friends and the relationships you made while you were doing your MBA. So it all boils down to that.
fair enough. Absolutely makes sense. Yeah, I think um, again, those macro stats, right? Recession is there. But when you actually, dive down to the numbers or actual situations, you realize, okay, it's not that bad. Yes, it's tough, but
Yeah.
things work out, at the end. That is the idea. Right. And, switching, given that you're an alum, I'm sure you interact with a lot of applicants as well. So, before we close, what would be that one advice, that you would give to an applicant who's applying to B schools this year or looking to apply to B schools next year, sitting in India, looking at US as an option?
Uh, I think starting early and really relying on experts or your friends or someone to help you with your story. Like, you need to be okay with it. Okay, this is what I want to do. So, getting that kind of service from someone, that can be a friend, that can be a relative, someone you know, or maybe even pay for it. Like, I paid to get help, and I worked with one of the best consultants, and he really helped me understand what it is that I want to do, what is it that I can do, and then move forward. So I think that's very important to just get that help, because I remember I wrote my essays, I had everything sorted, and I was ready to apply, and I was like sure that I'm going to get everywhere, and this is great. But then I thought, okay, let me just get someone's help, because my friend suggested that, hey, you know how friends are. They are like, oh, this is great, but how about, you speak to this person who might help you more. So I am so glad I took that step, because he changed the whole perspective I had towards my applications, and also like it was like a reality check for me. I was like, okay, stop lying. This is the reality. Let's just, work with this person and see where it goes. So that's my, yeah.
Yeah. No, a lot of times what happens is, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a consultant. It can be a senior alum, it can be a
Yeah,
friend. The idea is that the person spends time with you, not just reviewing the content. It's more about, having those brainstorming calls around what to highlight. As humans, and, we tend to undervalue a lot of things about our life and overvalue as well.
yeah,
You need that perspective and time, and that's what I think the consultants solve for, nothing else. Uh,
absolutely. I have a friend. So when I was working on my essays, very initial stage of writing my essays, I did not write about so many things which were so important in my career at that point of time, because I didn't think they were important. As a
hmm,
spectator, he could tell me, hey, why aren't you mentioning about this project that you worked on? Didn't you like shine? And yeah, you're absolutely right. It's like we want our friends to succeed, but we
hmm,
don't look at ourselves with the same lens. So
correct,
yeah,
correct. Great. Thank you so much, Pratishtha, for taking our time.
of
And
course.
continue to have fun at UN. A lot of us are, of course, envious of what you're, doing there, and the kind of work that there is beyond presentations. I'm sure it's tough, of course, but yes, it looks like a lot of fun from the outside.
It is. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm grateful.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Manan.